In the Great Ling Empire, tension coils as political intrigues deepen and rivalries simmer beneath the surface. In chapters 1085 and 1086 of Alchemy Emperor of the Divine Dao, Ling Han receives a sword from Jin Zhihui, a gift fraught with both respect and challenge, prompting strategic reflection and bold action. As he navigates the currents of power, the weight of past grievances fuels his decisive displays of cultivation mastery, and his wrath against adversaries rises like a storm on the horizon. Witness the unfolding of calculated maneuvers, bursts of martial might, and the shifting balance of influence that threaten to reshape the empire itself. The air above the Scarlet Heaven Academy hung thick with tension, a storm brewing silently over the four great institutions. Ling Han's sharp eyes narrowed as he listened to the news, his mind already tracing the paths of fate. What happened? He asked calmly, though his heart quickened with anticipation. The young student hesitated, as if weighing the weight of the tale, before finally speaking. I passed by the Eastern Institution's main gates and saw someone cornered by their students. He insisted he wanted to see you. Ling Han's brow arched, the gears of his mind turning. Visit him? Amidst the fierce rivalry of the four schools, no visitor dared approach freely. Whoever this was, they had stumbled unwittingly into a den of hostility, ignorant of the delicate tensions that bound and divided the Scarlet Heaven Academy. Is there anything special about him? Ling Han inquired. The messenger thought for a moment. He's ordinary, except he clutches a sword tightly to his chest. Ling Han's eyes flickered with recognition. Jin Zhihui, the heir of the famed Swordforge Manor. A promise lingered between them. If Jin Zhihui succeeded in forging the world's finest divine sword, he would personally deliver it to Ling Han. And now, barely a year had passed, and Jin Zhihui had fulfilled that vow. A faint smile touched Ling Han's lips. No matter what, it's best I head over first. With a casual toss, he sent a vial of emerald green pills toward the student, a heavenly pearl pill for merely delivering the message. Joy lit the youth's eyes as he caught it, trembling with excitement. Ling Han, undeterred by protocol or threat, strode boldly into the Eastern Institution's territory. The uniformed students froze as he passed, their eyes following the prodigy whose fame and martial renown had already rippled through the academy. They knew better than to interfere. No one wished to offend a 7th-rank military officer and peerless martial talent. Yet whispers of outrage filled the corridors. Is he really walking straight into the Eastern Institution's main gate? Does he mean to insult us? Anger and disbelief painted their faces. To allow such arrogance would be an unbearable humiliation. And so, from the shadows, a powerful figure emerged, a student at the early consummate level, strength exceeding half a star. He blocked Ling Han's path with stern authority, voice ringing with warning. Ling Han, you've gone too far. Ling Han's smile remained tranquil. I'm just taking a shortcut, he said lightly, each word measured, deliberate. This is the Scarlet Heaven Academy. I can naturally go wherever I wish. A flicker of menace crossed the student's eyes. If you won't heed the polite warning, then force will suffice. With a surge of power, he lunged forward. Rules forbade lower-level students from striking higher-level peers, but Ling Han's intrusion had nullified courtesy. Justice, in the Academy's twisted code, now sided with offense. Clasping his hands behind his back, Ling Han extended 2 fingers, twin daggers of light slicing through the air, a manifestation of the fast technique, honed under the reincarnation tree. One had to grasp that these months of cultivation under the tree were equivalent to over a century of worldly practice. Ling Han's comprehension was unparalleled. Pooh! Blood spurted. The student collapsed, silent and defeated, and Ling Han continued his measured stride toward the gates. Shock froze the onlookers. Even elites of the mountain river tier at the consummate stage rarely moved with such speed and precision. Ling Han's mastery now surpassed their understanding. The main gates loomed ahead, and there, amid a throng of students, stood a youth clutching a sword, Jin Zhihui. But the blade had already vanished. A silver-haired figure, Yang Shuang, held it aloft, laughter ringing across the courtyard. The #1 sword in the world? Nonsense! He waved it carelessly, dismissing its significance. Divine patterns etched upon the metal were inert, mere decoration. Forged from level 1 godly metal, it was no more than a trivial tool. Jin Zhihui's face burned with fury. "This is the finest sword! Return it at once!" His voice rang with desperation, but Yang Shuang's scoff was merciless. "Trash or not, it is mine. You'll have to dream if you wish to reclaim it." The surrounding students pressed Jin Zhihui to the ground, forcing him to kneel, head bowed. The air of Swordforge Manor endured humiliation unimaginable, and the tension thickened into palpable rage. Ling Han's footsteps were unhurried, yet each step carried the weight of authority and impending retribution. His aura flared, wrath and resolve intertwining like storm winds before a thunderclap. "Brother Jin, long time no see," he announced, voice calm, yet edged with lethal intent. The students at the gates gasped, whispering his name with awe and fear. Ling Han's eyes burned like the forge itself, and those who had dared humiliate Jin Zhihui would soon learn the true meaning of encountering a master at the pinnacle of martial genius. In the storied halls of the Scarlet Heaven Academy, whispers of legends and the feats of prodigies flowed like wind through ancient pavilions. Among these tales, none shone brighter than that of Ling Han. Though he had walked these corridors for but 2 brief years, his name had already carved its mark upon the annals of the majestic empire. A master of the mountain river tier at its medium extreme, his cultivation was matched only by the breathtaking prowess of his blade and the rare brilliance of his mind. Even the only child of great General Zhao had met him in combat. And in those clashes, Ling Han had not merely held his own. He had triumphed. It was no surprise, then, that the Empress herself had entrusted him with the rank of a 7th-level military officer, the youngest in history to bear such honor. Yet as awe filled the Eastern institution, unease stirred within its students. How dare one so young stride into their midst? How could a mere 2-year journey at the academy have produced a force capable of eclipsing their seasoned peers? The resentment coiled like a serpent waiting to strike. Yang Shuang, the prideful heir of the Eastern institution, faltered only for a heartbeat before his voice erupted like a storm. "Ling Han, you actually dare to barge into our Eastern institution?" His tone carried mockery, yet beneath it lurked an unspoken tension, the prickling of caution that only the truly powerful could awaken. Ling Han's eyes narrowed, his voice steady and cold. "Release him and return the sword. Then we may speak of other matters." A cruel laugh rolled from Yang Shuang's lips as he stamped onto Jin Zhihui's face. "What if I don't?" he taunted, his cultivation at the late stage of the consummate level bolstering his confidence. To him, Ling Han was nothing more than a youth courting humiliation. A glint of steel flashed in Ling Han's gaze. "I'll cut off that leg of yours," he said, the threat resonating like the strike of a bell through the tense air. Yang Shuang roared with laughter, brandishing his sword. "Ling Han, do you truly believe yourself invincible here?" His challenge was as much a question as it was a declaration, though the unease creeping into his heart betrayed him. Without a word, Ling Han advanced. The very air seemed to quiver around him, his fury almost tangible, pressing on those who dared draw near. Yang Shuang's order rang out like thunder. "Beat him to a pulp." The disciples surged forward, dozens of fists hurtling toward Ling Han, intent on crushing the audacious intruder. But Ling Han was no ordinary opponent. With a thought, he awakened the divine patterns of gravity, and a force unseen yet undeniable pinned the attackers to the ground. One by one, they fell like withered leaves caught in a gale, unable to breach the overwhelming power that emanated from him. His mastery over gravity, honed alongside his soaring cultivation, rendered those below the consummate level powerless to resist. Step by step, he pressed forward, and the path cleared before him as if the Eastern institution itself bowed to his might. Only Yang Shuang remained, a solitary figure against the tide of unstoppable force. Though his cultivation was higher, a knot of unease tightened in his chest, an inexplicable irritation that heightened his anxiety. "Kneel and apologize to Brother Jin," Ling Han intoned, each word laced with malice. "If forgiveness is granted, this matter ends. If not, you shall learn the true meaning of regret." Yang Shuang's rage ignited. With a cry of defiance, he lifted his foot, launching a strike meant to subdue Ling Han. Their legs collided with a resounding clash, and shock rippled through Yang Shuang. Ling Han's power, already at the middle stage of the consummate level, matched, even rivaled his own. Despite the latter's supposed advantage, the revelation struck with the force of lightning. Ling Han could indeed surpass 5 stars, a feat of near mythical scale, and at the mere age of 2 years in the academy. "Kneel!" Ling Han commanded, extending his hands toward Yang Shuang. "Now! Never, never!" Yang Shuang bellowed, refusing submission as Ling Han's fists and palms rained down, thunderous as mountains, blazing as the fires of war. With each strike, Ling Han felt his power surge further, transcending the 5-star threshold, his divine patterns of gravity and flame amplifying his might. With the annihilating dragon star arrow and the fast technique ready, Ling Han's battle prowess was a storm, capable of challenging even those at the peak of the mountain river tier. The fast technique unfurled in a dance of unparalleled speed, sword chi slicing the air like 1,000 blades descending from the heavens. Yang Shuang's cries pierced the academy as blood flew and flesh bore witness to the tempest of Ling Han's fury. The once proud student of the Eastern institution was brought low, his defenses shattered. With a final, resounding blow, Ling Han disarmed Yang Shuang and steadied Jin Zhihui, checking his wounds. "Brother Jin, are you all right?" "I'm fine," Jin Zhihui replied, crawling to his feet. Bones mended with the aid of cultivation and medicinal pills, his injuries were trivial to one versed in the arts. Ling Han's gaze returned to Yang Shuang, voice cold and lethal. "I said I would cut off that leg. Did you think I was jesting?" In a flash of steel, the command became reality. Yang Shuang's leg was severed, pain and humiliation intertwined as he collapsed, the weight of his crime against the Empire and the affront to a friend's honor pressing upon him. Ling Han's hands struck again, delivering a series of slaps that left Yang Shuang bloodied and broken, a visual testament to the futility of arrogance against true mastery. "Did you think this matter would end so lightly? I was merely exacting justice for your theft. Now you feel the consequences of offending my friend." A youth intervened at last, his expression etched with urgency and displeasure, signaling that even amidst legends, the world of the academy had its limits and witnesses to bear. Yet in this moment, one truth remained unchallenged. Ling Han, the youngest 7th-rank military officer, stood unbroken, a tempest incarnate, and a living legend whose name would echo through the annals of the Scarlet Heaven Academy for years to come.